Everybody, welcome to the Healing ALS Sunday Community Meeting. It's nice to see you all. I hope everybody's been doing well and hanging in there and making good progress if they could. Also, this is week 11 of our 26-week How to Heal ALS course. And we meet 12 o'clock, and that is Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, and 9 p.m. European time. These recordings are for educational purposes only. We are not medical professionals, and so we are not here giving you medical advice. But what we are doing, we are giving you advice of 30 different pals that we have actually spent time in their homes. They were able to reverse and stop the progression of this ALS disease, and we are letting and sharing what they have done with others so they can turn them around. A lot of people have gone down the traditional medical route and they've received traditional medical outcomes. So what we're doing is making sure that we can change that by doing different innovative and creative holistic things that these folks have been doing, because it's hard to turn this around unless you do something other than the traditional medical conventional, okay? Also, we know of at least 100 pals now who have at least stopped the progression or have turned this around, and that's what we're aware of. We're trying to get at least 100 out of this group to do the same, okay? I just want to let everybody know that today we have Kim and Kay Cherry. Kim and Kay Cherry. Kim was diagnosed with bulbar ALS back in 2011, and he was able to stop the progression of this disease, show good signs of his symptoms being turned around. He has been out golfing. He has been out doing lots of things. There have been hurdles. There's mountains, there's hills, there's been ups, there's been downs. And let me tell you, we're talking about a very strong gentleman. Even though he has ALS, he has had additional setbacks, dealing with breathing, dealing with his heart, and other things that have come along the way. And he is a fighter. He has actually been able to continue being strong. He still gets around, and he has gotten his voice back to where he is now articulate again, where he had a big struggle just trying to speak and talk. And Kay has been by his side and with him every step of the way, and they have been able to work together to be able to stop this progression of this disease, turn it around. And they have great tips and things, and they're going to talk about essential oils today, and they're going to talk about diffusers and how they were able to help Kim get that breathing back. So, Kay and Kim Cherry, are you here with us today?
We are here.
Okay.
I'm going to introduce them just a little more formally than Scott did. They have become very good friends. We first met them in 2014, and like many of you were in exactly the same position back in 2011 that you are in today. They made the decision not to accept the prognosis and do everything that they could possibly do to heal. Their journey started with someone saying, oh, you need to go to this doctor, and they found out it was a chiropractor, but they went anyway. And he kind of got them started on changing their diets and supplements and did a lot of research, and you know, they kept doing more research. So, you know, it makes sense what they did, but they basically did 9 years ago what you are all going through right now. They later went to 2 naturopaths. They tried ozone. I put research in there like 6 times because to this day, Kay, if I want to know something, I phone Kay. She knows it. She's amazing. So the essential oils presentation today is just one of the many things that they've used to heal, and you are all going to be in that exact same position. You're going to have a whole bunch of things that you're going to use to heal. They started ALS Winners back in 2014. They've been doing blogs since January of 2014. Kim and Kay have dedicated themselves to helping other people on their journey, families and people diagnosed with ALS. They have been on the phone and doing emails with hundreds. I wouldn't even be surprised if it's thousands by now. I mean, it's so many so many calls and emails they get, and they're there to coach them. They were speakers at our 2019 Healing ALS conference. Kay worked really hard on the conference committee, and reversing ALS is a journey. Kay still researches every day. She still gives me articles. Kim also researches, so don't think it's just Kay that's doing all the work. When she tells Kim to read something, he reads it, and then Kim finds his own things to read. So this is a true partnership. They also live and enjoy their life. They have grandchildren. Kim still plays golf, at least up until 2 months ago, and I think he's going to start again soon. So helping others through their journey is a big part of what they did. This was us when we met them back in 2014. So I look at Kim back in 2014, and this is where they are now. I mean, so it's like, here we are, guys. You can live with ALS, and these two prove it. So I just want to say thank you so much to Kim and Kay. Okay, so I want you guys to go full screen, say hello, talk, and just say hello to everybody.
Some of you have already said hello to us, and some we've known for years, and hello to all of you. We love all of you.
Yeah. We appreciate the opportunity to be on this webinar. Appreciate the introduction and all the good things that both Scott and Tish have said. I think most of them are mostly true, but we just go forward. I guess the first thing we want to do, we're going to talk about the essential oils, but it's important that each of you know that we have come a long way. We know that we have reversed a lot of the symptoms. We still got a long way to go. But my issue started in probably 2008 or 2009. I noticed a drop foot issue. I didn't know that's what it was then, but I noticed when I was walking on the golf course, my feet would flap. So it was an imitation of a good duck walk. And most of you probably already know my stories. If you've been on our website, ALS Winners, or it will tell you the story and a lot of the other things we've done. But my progression started heavily during the year of 2010 and 2011. I was running two businesses. I was working 60, 70 hours a week. And but I noted that breathing was becoming a major issue. I didn't realize then how critical it was, but late in 2010, I had been diagnosed with a microprolapse issue with my heart, and I went back to Tennessee and had a surgery done, open heart surgery, and this was in December, and we thought that was going to solve most of the breathing problems I had, but it did not. My digression continued. Breathing and swallowing were big issues. I was losing the strength in my hands, and my voice was faltering. I was struggling to get out a simple sentence. That has changed. The doctors also noted I had a lot of fasciculations. I didn't realize that I had on my tongue, but they said I did, so we went with that. But on the first day after our first 42nd wedding anniversary, we met with our neurologist and was told plainly and simply that I had ALS. She gave a lot of reasons through all of her studies and research, but that was a tough day. And anyone that's ever been diagnosed with ALS remembers the day in which they were diagnosed, and it's a scary thing. But our initial response was, of course, shock, as everyone goes through. We had depression. We were angry. I was mad that the doctors said they could do nothing, and I simply said, maybe you can't do anything. That does not mean that we can't do something. So the main thing that we did probably in those first few weeks after the diagnosis was to realign our thinking process and realize that there were things that we were going to research and do. And so that started our therapies toward healing ALS.
Next slide. There we go.
Okay. The first things that we did, that we got this from Dr. Nielsen in Park City, Utah, make major changes in our diet. We gave up my great homemade bread. I should say Kay's homemade bread.
He made
but We cut out sugar and all the other ingredients that were so common in most of the processed foods. And there are a lot of things that we have done over these last 9 years, especially the first few years. And we can't go into all of them, but as you read my story on our website, anyone that is familiar with ALS will know that I'm real, that we went through these problems, we went through the same struggles that you're all going through now, but we knew there was a brighter day, and we challenged that and went with it. But the number one thing was breathing issue. One of the things we started doing probably in January, late January of 2012, was to start using the essential oils. And Kay is going to cover a lot of that on it. Big part of what I was doing was getting to warmer weather and lower elevation. That's when we started going south for the winters. We've been doing that for 8 years now. This will be our 9th year going south this year. But we're not sure of all the pieces of the puzzle. There are a lot of pieces of the puzzle for ALS, and we expect that eventually we will find more of them. Though I have not reversed all of my symptoms, I still have some major issues, but I'm living, I'm talking, probably too much most of the time, and my golf is lacking, but we won't talk about that now, but I still get to the golf course periodically. So I'll turn the time over to my sweetheart, and she'll take it from here.
Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you sharing your story. So, all right. So just remember, this is just a piece. This is one of the many things that they researched and found that they helped. So go ahead. Go ahead, Kay.
Okay, there was just a note that came up from Antonio, and he's asked about neck muscles. Kim did not have trouble with his neck muscles initially. And hello, Flavia. She's a new pals from this week. What are essential oils? They're volatile liquids that are distilled from plants. They're extracted from different parts of the plant, sometimes the seeds, sometimes the bark, the leaves, the stem, the flowers, the fruit. And these extractions contain medical properties. They're God-given medicines, and we can be very valuable once we learn how to use them. And that's a big learning curve. Essential oils provide oxygen. The oils are so small in their molecular structure that they can quickly penetrate the skin. Next slide. Essential oils are antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, antiseptic. They can detox the cells in the blood in the body. The oils are aromatic. When diffused, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit, they provide air purification by removing metallic particles and toxins from the air, increasing atmospheric oxygen, increasing ozone and negative ions in the area, which inhibit bacterial growth. Ozone is another one of the therapies that we used. We started the essential oils. He was diagnosed the end of November. We started the essential oils about 2 months later, and we began, even before we started the other ozone and other therapies, we noticed that Kim was beginning to make a turnaround. They destroy odors from mold, cigarettes, and animals, and they fill the air with a fresh and aromatic scent. I said that almost. Next slide. There are two grades, at least two grades, of essential oils. One is cosmetic and the other is therapeutic. In order to have an impact medicinally, the oils need to be of therapeutic grade or essentially of very high quality. Some of the oils are very expensive. It can take up to 30 tons of plant material to make 1 pound of an essential oil called Melissa. So that's probably one of the most expensive oils there is. Some oils are thick, others are not. Some are hot, and you have to be careful. The hot ones are cassia, which is like a cinnamon, and cinnamon bark, and clove, and oregano, and thyme. Is there another one on there I can't see? You should never breathe these oils directly from a diffuser. So, and if you're going to put them on your skin, you should always use a carrier oil, like coconut oil or olive oil, and mix it with the essential oil a little bit before you put it on your skin.
And that's not all oil, just these are.
Yeah, those are mostly the hot ones. There's a book called Modern Essentials that you can actually get on Amazon.com that tells you all about these essential oils. And they explain the oils, whether they need to be hot or cold, what they're good for. We'll cover a little bit of that too. So next slide. Or did you already? A diffuser. Oh, go back one. And what is a diffuser? I didn't know before we started this journey. A diffuser is a device that puts water and oils into the air. There's many kinds. Some will run for an hour or two, and others will run for up to 6 hours or more. I've even heard that there are some that will run 12 to 16. We've had a few different diffusers. To use one at night, which is what we often do to help Kim breathe better at night. We found one that's dark. It's kind of all wood. And then it will not light up the room at night and keep you awake. Thank you for answering that, Gabby. This is the picture of the one we use most right now. And it's our favorite. There's a little bit of light around the base circle, but you can just wrap a towel around that. It's important to sleep in a dark room. And so I just wrap a towel around that, and then it doesn't put out any light at all. This one will run for up to 6 hours. So just lift off the top half of it, put the water in, add 6 to 8 drops of diffuser, and then just turn it on, and it puts the odors in the air. Some that we've used, the oils we've used most frequently, of course, is the Breathe, which is a combination oil that opens the airways. Melaleuca or tea tree oil will kill fungus in the lungs, and Kim had fungus in his lungs, and it can take care of that issue very quickly. Cinnamon bark kills mold. That's one. You got to be very careful not to stand right over the diffuser and breathe it from there, because it's a very strong hot oil. Clove kills viruses, so we've been using this one. You know, the coronavirus is all around us. We go out, we come home, we turn the diffuser on, put the clove in the diffuser. Serenity. How many of us are ever stressed? Probably everyone here has been stressed at some time or other. Serenity is a combination oil that's very calming, and there's lots of other possibilities.
I might add one thing too. We currently are using a CPAP, and we put the essential oils, drop them in the water humidifying section of the CPAP, and I breathe those oils through the CPAP. I think that's beneficial too, but I'm not using the diffuser as much as we're using the CPAP, but that's something to look at and evaluate.
Next slide, okay. Now we're going to talk about the oils for the feet. All of our nerves end up either in our hands or in our feet, and nerves travel all the way through your body. So the ones that were recommended in this book, Modern Essentials, were cypress, frankincense, sandalwood, and balance. And cypress, we had a friend in Texas, and she had these horrible bunions. Gave her some cypress, and those bunions started to shrink. They thought they were going to have surgery. Environmental stress, muscles, muscle fatigue, muscle tone, energy, liver disorders, and that's really good for ALS. Lung circulation, muscle cramps, nervous tension, and others. Frankincense is also good for ALS. Balance, brain, depression, inflammation, mental fatigue, and many others. There's a lot of them listed, but I didn't want to take the whole thing talking about what each one of them does. Sandalwood is for ALS, fear, meditation, and more. And balance helps with problems relating to muscles, the nervous system, the emotional balance. This oil contains spruce, rosewood, blue transit, and frankincense. There was a question asked. I'll talk about a couple of brands. I have been trained to use doTERRA oils, and I do that because I had people around I could ask. There are other companies, and we'll put those in there's a slide at the end. We'll talk about those little. So how do we do it? Put them on the feet. It should be noted that the reason we put them on the feet is the nerves in there. Oils on the feet will travel through that nerve to the designated area. In ALS, the spine is affected, and the long bone from the heel to the toe bone is where the ALS need to go to affect the spine. I put them in my hand and mix them and then rub them along that bone with both feet. Then use my thumbs to massage from the bottom of the foot, bottom of the heel, up to the toe, the big toe knuckle. And I do that about 15 times from the toe to the heel. One question that came up was, do you go from the toe to the heel or the heel to toe? You start at the heel and just with little circles with your thumb, just massage that oil until you massage all the way to the knuckle of the big toe. And then start over and just go from the bottom to the top again.
And I've got bigger feet than a lot of people, so.
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of work. So this was in 2004 when we first met Scott and Tish. 14. When we first met, and they took some videos of some of the things that we've done.
Okay, go full screen. All set.
We're going to show you a couple of things that we've done that have really helped a lot of different areas. This is a diffuser. And what it is that we've got different oils that we'll put into a water base, pour the water into the diffuser, then just close that up. Then this actually diffuses the oil into the air. And if I'm having problems breathing, this really tends to help in that area where I can breathe more freely. We'll run this for an hour or so, and at different times when we feel it's necessary. Sometimes it's just nice to have the air scented. This is cinnamon that's running in it right now, and it smells very nice.
Oils, I dilute just a little teeny bit. When I first did it about 3 years ago, I didn't have the coconut oil, so I just used olive oil. So I just take the coconut oil, put a little drop down, that helps dilute it just a little bit. This oil is cypress. It's one of the 4 that we use to rub in his feet. This next one is balance. It is a combination of several different oils that help balance your body. This one is frankincense. We've all heard of frankincense. Frankincense is a really good oil. And these are oils that are recommended for ALS. And this one is sandalwood. It doesn't like to come out very well. It's thicker than some of the others. So I've got all these oils in my hand. Just rub them in a little bit. And I just rub them onto his feet. Now, this portion right here connects to your spine. The nerves go right up to your spine. So I get the oils on like this, and then I just massage those oils into his feet from the bottom, just, gently up to the toe, and warm up his feet as I do it because his feet are cold. So we just do that with both feet. When I do the oregano oils on my feet that connect to my sinuses, I can smell those oils in my sinuses in about 20 seconds. So it just, they say they're really quite powerful. We didn't notice immediate relief, but over a period of time, he was able to lay down. He just couldn't even lay down and breathe and still breathe. So we'd rub these oils in every single night. Didn't take very long. Now, this part of your foot connects to your lungs. And since his lungs were having such an issue, so I would take the breathe and I would rub it into this spot right here on both of his feet, just like that.
And is that the name of the oil? It's called
Breathe. And it is another combination oil that literally helps you to breathe. Now, it was a little over a year ago when we were up here, when we were down in Texas last year before we started to go home. He said, boy, I just can't breathe very well. So you know what we did? We took this fancy, really, really fancy little mask. We'd put 2 or 3 drops of breathe in the mask and just put it over his face like that. And he would just breathe the breathe. I've got one, Kim. I've got one. I got one out so I could show it. and he just let over it, and it would help his lungs. You can also diffuse the breathe into the air, and then it goes right into your lungs and helps heal the lungs. If you have fungus in your lungs, we've used melaleuca, we've used cinnamon, we've used it so they can help mold and fungus and things like that. And so, you know, those are a couple of things that have really helped him. We had another therapy we heard of that you rub up the spine of the back, and you start with frankincense and use a little frankincense on the feet and the neck and the shoulders. And then you put just a little bit of coconut oil up the back, because some of the oils are hot and they need to be just a little diluted, like thyme and clove. So then you put a few drops up your back of frankincense, rub that in 3 times up, and then you put a few drops of thyme and cloves and aroma touch and lemongrass and Melissa. You do each one, you rub up the back 3 times. And
Is that what they call it, aroma touch therapy?
yeah, and then there's bergamot and peppermint and patchouli. Peppermint is the last one that you do. And then you've rubbed all these oils up your back, and I assume it feels good. Does it feel good?
It feels okay. I prefer a good old solid massage. You know?
But these oils penetrate into the spine, and then you lay a towel over the back, and they just rest for about 10 minutes. Each oil has a different thing that it does, that it's good for. It comes from a different plant, comes from a different tree or something, and they have different properties. And my feeling is that Heavenly Father gave us herbs and plants and healthy foods, and they're able to extract the oils from the plants, and they're just completely natural. And so our body accepts them and helps you to heal.
Okay, there's something I'd like to say. I do have this up on YouTube, and I put it in the chat. Go ahead and search Kim and K oils, essential oils, or Kim and K diffusers. You should be able to come up with this on YouTube. And that'll be great. If anybody wanted to go over all those oils again, you can go on YouTube and play this over and over again. So go right ahead there, Kim and K. Sorry about that.
Okay. So we've talked about the breathe oil, being a combination of oils, and how I put it on. Melaleuca will kill fungus. And one day when we were in Texas, he began having a really awful coughing spell. And I just happened to have some cinnamon and the diffuser right there, and I put it in. I bet that coughing stopped in about 10 seconds. We were both shocked. Another oil that we used, we did a liquid glutathione for about a year, and then we heard that grapefruit oil will help your body make glutathione. So he would put drops of grapefruit in his drinking water, and he did that for 2 or 3 years. Ginger oil is good for loss of appetite and digestive disorders. The website again is alswinners.com, not losers, but winners, alswinners.com. There was one more, Tish, on the last slide. Can you go back one slide?
I went too far.
Okay, and the oregano oil will help with sinus issues. And I wanted to mention that an herbalist told me that, and I've always had sinus issues. And so I went to the health food store and I bought some oregano. And I didn't notice much difference. But then I bought, we started using the doTERRA, and I got the doTERRA oregano oil, and there was a real difference. And like I said, you can put it on, clear down here on your feet, and then just seconds later, you can breathe that oil, which you don't breathe in the air. You can breathe that oil coming right through your sinuses. So that was pretty interesting. And the next slide is about the symphony of oils, and the slide talked about that. And I should also mention that Scott and Tish will have these slides up by Tuesday night, probably, on their website. So you need to go to their website, healingals.org, and go to the member login and just log in. And then all of the classes that they've been having on Sunday are listed there. And so all of the slides and everything will be available to you for that. alswinners.com/SCPT for September 2014 HTML is where I put the intense instructions on how to do the symphony of oils on the back. Okay, where do you find good essential oils? I mentioned earlier that I've been using the doTERRA essential oils because I knew people that could help me understand and use them. And I don't know how to compare their blends to the blends from other companies. Their website is doTERRA.com. Excuse me. And then there's another company that I believe has quality. I've heard from several people that they use Young Living essential oils, and their website is youngliving.com. So some of those questions, I think that's my last slide, isn't it, Tish? Some of the questions that came up. Oh, so the guy on the right with the parrot, that was 1 year before his diagnosis. He still looked pretty healthy then. The guy on the left is the golfer in Texas at Augusta Pines.
And that was after the diagnosis.
That was 2003. That was just a couple of years later. I don't know if she put in a photo of days before his diagnosis to see how. Okay, this was in Yuma. They had Yuma, Arizona. The first year they were down there, they had a festival, and they had artists. And this one artist mixed things from all kinds of things. In San Diego, there's a museum for the history of the Mormon Pine Battalion that marched for the United States from central part of the country all the way to San Diego. It was quite a journey.
Mormon Battalion.
That was the Mormon Battalion. There's Kim in about, what year was it, Tish? 2015 or so, 14 or 15. The garden, we needed to redo the garden and redo the watering system. So there he is, digging all those holes and redoing my whole gardening system. And there he is golfing in Idaho. The one on the left is at the top of a lighthouse in Port Isabel, Texas, right on the Gulf of Mexico. The bridge that you see there is a 2.5-mile bridge that goes over to South Padre Island.
Yeah, let them know why you picked Texas, Brownsville, Texas, to go.
We were in Texas to help with the new company that bought our business, and we were helping with the thing, and we knew we needed to be south into warm weather. And so Christmas Day, we were in San Antonio, and it was in the 70s. It was a lovely day. Spent Christmas with some family down there. And the next day was supposed to drop 20 degrees. So we looked at the temperatures in Brownsville, Texas, 4 degrees. So that's why we went to Brownsville. And we spent 3 winters in Brownsville. And the picture, the other one is out in the Gulf of Mexico on a little fishing trip.
So Kim really had a lot of trouble breathing in Idaho, so that's why they spend winters down south, because he's breathing, still has trouble with the cold, with breathing. So it was just that's why they ended up going to Brownsville, and now they go to Yuma. So,
and Kim, can you explain a little bit of the differences that you experienced being up in Idaho and down there in Brownsville, Texas? When we visited you down in Brownsville and gave you a visit, you had explained to me that the differences in breathing made a big difference from being in winter up in Idaho or being in the summer, or spend your winters down south and your summer up. Can you explain a little bit of that?
First of all, we're looking at a year difference in time. When we were in Idaho in the winter of 2011, 2012, it was a struggle just to get from a restaurant to our car and park in the handicap zone. By the way, we did get a handicap sticker, which we seldom use, but that helped then. But this is about a year later, and then we already had we knew the stop and the turnaround of the progression. But But yeah, my breathing was a lot better, but I know the elevation definitely helped. If we had to travel or go someplace to a higher elevation, we can notice the difference. So that was a big thing. I think probably the biggest thing is I knew I had to drive that doggone RV we bought back to Idaho, and so stayed on top of it. But and that was a big fear starting out when we bought that thing, and I had no idea if I'd be able to drive it or not. But we determined we would, and so a lot of that again was the mental portion of it, believing that there's things we can do and setting goals and deciding what we're going to do. We just completely dismissed our traditional doctors, and we found our own way to heal. And they still don't know why I'm still here. I had 1 year, and that was 9 years ago, so they need a course in math. But we intend to keep going forward. Yeah, we've still got challenges, pretty significant challenges, but that's part of the progress. That's part of the teaching portion of ALS, and there's a lot to learn.
Okay, there's two questions here. One was why the cold weather? How would the cold weather affect him? Literally would shut his lungs down. He just could not breathe. We would walk from the car into a building, and sometimes it would take an hour just in that short exposure to the cold for his lungs to settle down enough that he could breathe. Another thing that affected him was the smells, perfumes. Somebody would sit down in church behind us with strong perfumes on, and he couldn't breathe. It would shut his lungs down, so he would have to move. The issue is that perfumes, although they may have lavender or, different natural things in them, there's a lot of chemicals. And I could use all kinds of essential oils on him, and it never affected his breathing negatively. And somebody else just asked also about essential oils. What was that question? As long as they're diluted on the skin, and I have read that sometimes there are some oils that you shouldn't put on if you're going to go out in the sun, probably like cinnamon, because it's probably the hottest of all of them. Can you ingest the oils? Yes, you can. You can put them in a little, they have some that you can just order, like On Guard is really good to help your immune system protect you from viruses.
Good.
They sell it in capsules, but you can put it in the capsule and just take it. Lemon you can take. I've even put lemon under my tongue. So.
Okay, so which oils are not good to ingest? Because there's some that are better than others when it comes to ingesting those oils, and taste might have a little
right. And
something to
after
do
this
with it
question, I want Gabby Faye to introduce herself. Gabby Faye, and also just because she's going to be asking questions as well, she's here as well. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, to answer that question, I would have to turn that to is Christine Hales on the call anywhere? She was going to be here today to help answers. I'm not all knowing of all but she's been selling these and using these for years, and so she has a lot more knowledge about the oils than I do.
I see. Christine, if you are here, please
just raise your hand on the
chat.
reactions. Just put up your hand on the reactions, Christine, if you're there.
Yeah, so Christine I think Christine can just put it in the chat and let me know what her screen name is. And then Gabby Faye, why don't you ask the next question?
Sure. Hi, I'm Gabby Faye. I'm the volunteer coordinator for this group, and my mother, Anita Barron, who's on here, was diagnosed with bulbar ALS last summer, and that's how we joined the group. Okay. And Kim and Kay were two of the first people that we spoke to, and that really, I think, changed things around for my mother and gave her hope and, changed her attitude to positive and hopefulness. So we're very grateful for them and glad to see you guys. Okay. All right. So I'm going to combine these questions, and I imagine that they are probably answered on your website, but we can talk about them here. How many drops are you using in the carrier oils and to diffuse at a time?
For the diffuser, we use about 6 to 8 drops for that. So you've got quite a bit of water and 6 to 8 drops of oil. When I put them in my hand for I just maybe 2 or 3 drops of the carrier oils, and then 1 to 2 drops of each of the frankincense, sandalwood, cypress, and balance. So you have kind of a little glob of oils in your hand, but then you just rub it on his feet.
Great, thank you. Michael Andrus asks, how often are you doing the essential oils?
Initially, we did them for at least 9 months every night.
Okay.
The oils on the feet and the breathe. That breathe we continued to use for, and every once in a while he'll say, well, you put oils on my feet tonight. And I said, sure.
She's so accommodating.
But the breathe oil we have continued to use off and on over the years. As we feel we need it, we just turn it on. Somebody asked about lavender oil.
Yeah, that's the next question.
Lavender oil is probably a really good one, but I don't like the smell of that lavender. So it's probably just me. If you love lavender, use it.
It's good for calming, right?
Yeah, it probably is.
Okay. Amanda Stevens asks, do you mix oils in the diffuser or do just one at a time?
You probably could mix them. I don't know that it would hurt to mix different oils, but I'd maybe start slowly. Just maybe 2 oils and see how the combination works. There are certain oils that have a better combination. What's the right word? They probably work better together than others, but you can try it and just see.
Good answer. Aiden Arpa asked, what about a sauna with essential oils?
You could probably do that too. We don't have a sauna, so I've never tried that. But anytime you can breathe those oils, they go in through your body. In the sauna, they might even go in through your skin.
I'm going to caution everyone on a sauna. There are these portable saunas that you can kind of close off your neck, and that way you can get all the benefits of the sauna without breathing the gases back in. What we're concerned about, and which we've read about as well, is that when you're in a sauna, you are sweating out, especially with other people, but then you're breathing in these toxins. So saunas are great, but in general, you want to have your head sticking out so you're not breathing in. The toxins are coming out in gas form. You don't want to breathe them back into your lungs. So in general, that's just a cautionary note on saunas. Consider the portable kind with your head sticking out.
And some of our pals have had good success with the far infrared sauna, the portable, where they're breathing in fresh air, not breathing in their own off gas. Thanks, Tim.
Maybe Scott or Tish, maybe you could put a link to that because I know you can order it on Amazon. Maybe you could link it in the chat box.
There are lots and lots of different kinds. You have to look for the kind with low EMF. That's one thing you can do. The Truth About Cancer people have a good one that they have linked to, so that's a pretty good one that I can tell, but you've really got to do your research.
Sooner or later, we'll be putting one up on our website when we get our products page going. Thanks, Gabby.
Sure.
The other thing I should mention, on our website, on the ozone page, we have talk about ozone, we talk about EWAT, exercise with oxygen therapy. And we have links on there to saunas, ozone equipment, different things that you can purchase. Not through us, but just where it's available.
Great.
So just so everyone knows, this is, what people don't realize is that in order to reverse ALS, you've got to do like 30 things. And essential oils is just one of the things that Kim and Kay have done. They've done so many different therapies over the years, and it's a constant research, constant, changing up their diet, trying out different supplements, different essential oils, different methods of detox. Kim did, ozone for years, and he's still doing oxygen therapies to this day, rectal insufflations of ozone. So they're just, this talk isn't about ozone, but understand that there were a whole bunch of things that he has done. It's not just a few.
Vera Gattino asks, how do you know if you have fungus in your lungs?
Doctor told us, or the chiropractor.
When we met with Dr. Nielsen, he said you have fungus, gluten sensitivity, and mercury poisoning. He didn't necessarily say it was in his lungs, but we had done a lot of stuff. We kind of cleared it up, and then my mother turned 90. She had a birthday party. Kim says I'm not supposed to tell this. But I made a gluten-free cake, but it did have frosting on it. And he had some, and we brought what was left, and I put it in little containers. But he kind of did that. It was so tempting. He ate that carrot cake every day for about a week, and he could feel it in his lungs. He could feel that his lungs weren't right. So that's when we got out the book, and it says Melaleuca, so we put Melaleuca in the diffuser, and in just moments, it resolved that fungus issue in his lungs.
That's amazing. It's powerful. Kathy Mathis, right? I always can't remember this. Is that right, Tish, how I pronounce her last name? She's one of our volunteers, so I need to know how to pronounce her last name. Okay, hopefully that's right. Should the person applying the oils be concerned that the oils are being absorbed into their body? Also, are there oils that are harmful to pets?
I don't know about the pets, but I've been using the oils and I've had no negative effect. And I've never heard or read of anything that there's a negative effect for the person, because these are all God-given products. And, you know, you do need to know how to use them, but for the most benefit, but I've never had any issues, and I use the oils myself too.
I use essential oils also. Okay. Lisa Manchester says, is it okay to ingest the essential oils? I've always heard different, and that it's not a good idea.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that a little bit, that
Yeah.
you can't take them. Some of the essential oils actually come in a capsule, so you can just take them. For instance, On Guard, and there could be others too. On Guard helps your immune system. And Karen just made a note that tea tree oil can be harmful to dogs. So that's
Yeah, because you have to research for the specifics. Someone asked if the oils and diffusers are sold on Amazon.
You can find them on Amazon. The one that we like is on Walmart.com.
doTERRA.
And you might be able to find it on Amazon too. There's a lot of differences, and we've had several. The really pretty one that we had was the first one that we bought, but it's really hard to clean. It only ran for like 90 minutes at the most, and there was no way you could put it in the bedroom and sleep because it lit up the whole room. There wasn't any way to turn the light out. So that's why I eventually found that one with the dark top, and the only light is just a little circle around the middle that you can just cover up with a towel.
Pinnakin Shaw asked if there are any side effects. Like you guys already said, it's all been positive, and we haven't seen anything negative from it.
Right.
So, okay, James Getka, this is just a note. He's also one of our volunteers. As a note, I'm a relatively new distributor for Young Living, which was the other essential oil brand that you mentioned. If I can be of any help to anyone, let me know. Of course, you can always visit their website on their own. But if anyone, I guess, wants to talk to James, you can send an email to me or Tish, and we can link you with him.
Great. I think it's important that, as Kay said, she tried one in the health food store, and you need to get good quality essential oils, and both doTERRA and Young Living are both really good quality essential oils, rather than just getting them off the store shelves.
For sure. Thank you.
And I have one that Brian and Maria talked about, the tea tree oil not being good for dogs to breathe. Kim and Kay, do you have pets?
We don't have pets. And I don't put the Melaleuca. Melaleuca and tea tree oil are the same thing. I don't diffuse that one very often, just mostly when there's, a real concern or an issue coming on that we need to use it.
Okay, sorry about that, Gabby. Go right ahead. I just wanted to make sure with folks with pets out there.
Antonia Nikitenko asks, how low was your forced vital capacity of the lungs at its very lowest?
Your vital capacity of your lungs at the lowest.
My last test, I think, came at 47%, and I'm sure I went down to probably below 20, because I refused to have another test or any more help from the doctors, and I know I was going downhill. So What my lowest was, I don't know, but it was pretty low. It was a whole lot worse than when I was last tested at 47.
Yeah. Just to repeat, I don't know if people heard this, but for some time, like Kim couldn't even lay down flat without having serious trouble breathing. And I remember when we spoke, it took like so long for you to fall asleep because you had to prop up and like find different positions just because breathing was so difficult. Okay, Smita Jan asks, what was the first symptom that Kim reversed?
First symptom you reversed.
Had to be my breathing. That's the thing I noticed most. Just my ability to breathe. Obviously, my speech issues were a definite improvement and came up early. So I would say, within the first year after the diagnosis, the biggest thing we turned around was the breathing issue and my speech. I also was losing my strength in my hands, my form. I'd lost about 40 pounds from my normal weight to my diagnosis, and I've only gained back about 15 of that now, but that's fine. I don't need the rest of it. The rest of it's in muscle, and I had to work for a living. But so being retired is not all that bad.
That's good. Thank you. Adam Crane asked, with bulbar, did you experience any atrophy? Which you just spoke a little bit about in your hands.
Atrophy?
With bulbar, did you experience atrophy?
Yeah, I had especially noted atrophy in my right calf, my right leg, I think that has definitely stopped and improved. But that was a big part of my weight loss. I lost it, the mass of my bones, my forearm, my arms are much thinner than they were back then, and I don't have a spare tire around my middle anymore either. But other than that, I'm sure that the atrophy is probably more noted than other things, but my muscle loss in my leg, my ability to walk was definitely impacted, and that still got a long way to go to come back, but I still walk and I still get around. I just had a lousy golf swing.
I should tell you his story. He says he could golf a lot better if the big ball he was standing on would hold still so he could hit the little ball.
That was after our experiences in 2018 with all the sepsis and all of that stuff there. That's another story, but just another little dip in the road.
This is
recovery.
Yeah, the road to recovery. Julie Bayless, who also has bulbar, just commented that she actually breathes a lot better with cold. She said she needs the cold to breathe. 20 below. I don't know if that means 20 below zero because that's freezing. I have the window open. So I guess, I don't know if anyone else.
And I think that's really important because everyone is different. I think it's really important that different things work for different people. There is no one formula. There's never going to be one formula. And different things, you can try them and they have no effect. And then 6 months later, they will have an effect, that exact same protocol. So it's a process, and it takes time, and it takes energy, and it takes experimentation and effort, and seeing different professionals as well. And
that's why you always talk about having to do 30 things, because what the 20 so that are going to work for you might be different for the next person. So
exactly,
makes sense. Yeah. Okay, Sandy Waller asked what helped with speaking.
With speaking.
Yeah, like what helped improve his speech? Was it also anything that helped with his breathing, or was it a different therapy?
Kim seemed to have a different thing with his speech. Because the muscle in his throat was letting fluid into his lungs were impacted with fluid. And he would try to talk and he would cough. And so he couldn't get the words out. He'd say 3 or 4 words and then he'd begin to cough. And as the lungs cleared up, we used carbonated water so that it would stimulate that muscle in his throat and not keep putting fluid in his lungs. And so in time, the lungs were able to heal, and that's really what made the difference. And if you remember in the video, he's showing the diffuser. There was a little red device just right next to that in the bottle. And so one of the first things he did when the doctor told him that carbonated water sometimes helps people that have swallowing trouble, we found it's called a soda stream, and you can buy it from Bed Bath & Beyond, and they sell the extra bottles. It has a gas bottle that comes with it, and we bought an extra one. So when it ran out, we could put one in the soda stream, but we did not add all the sweeteners and the chemicals to make pop. We just did the carbonated water, and that eliminated. Eventually that cleared up because he wasn't getting fluid in his lungs again.
Okay, Kay, do you have anything to offer in terms of replacing what actually happens to someone when they have a lot of carbonated water? Does that affect your calcium? Does it affect can you talk about that a little bit?
Carbonated water is very acidic. And what happened after about 2 years and 8 months was that he started having pain in his back, and we finally realized it was in his kidneys. By the time we'd been on it for 3 years, he could drink water without carbonation. And so, of course, we just eliminated it. But you have to be aware that it's going to make your body very acidic. And the kidneys don't like all that acidity. And so, in time, it's a Band-Aid to help you get to the next step. That make sense?
And apparently I've read that the carbonation also makes you leach minerals from your body. So I think one of the questions is, do you replace the minerals? But you do that anyway. You guys are taking mineral supplements anyway. But that is a good point. In general, most people maybe you could just mention this too, because this has come up twice in the past 2 days, is calcium, magnesium. Most pals have way too much calcium and not enough magnesium. So maybe, while we're kind of on that subject of minerals, Kay, you can explain that a little bit about magnesium.
Dr. Carolyn Dean in her book says that your intake of calcium and magnesium need to be equal. That and all calcium supplements are way more calcium and just a little magnesium, because doctors never really think, well, you have to have magnesium to go with calcium. You do. But magnesium opens the channel and lets the calcium in. And when that part of the body has enough calcium, magnesium shuts the door. So if you have way too much calcium, then it starts lining your veins. You get kidney stones, you get heel spurs. You can have negative things from getting too much calcium.
Yeah, and what people don't realize is that every time you eat leafy green vegetables, they are full of calcium. Almonds are full of calcium. So most of the food, we actually get what we need, enough calcium that we need, but we're all deficient in magnesium because it's not in the soils anymore. So that you really need to take, like I just take magnesium and minerals. I don't take any calcium supplements because I know I'm getting more than enough in my diet.
Thank you. Okay, the next question is, do you feel it's best to use essential oils at night for breathing? Is there a best time of day?
We use the essential oils at night because he had such a difficult time laying down and going to sleep. Right. But we'd often use them during the day. You just have the diffuser out in the living area and you turn it on. Anytime he feels like he needs it, we just put the breathe in the and so he's been able to identify to himself what is a good magnesium, what he needs in order to breathe. Someone just asked about what brand of magnesium. If you will go to our website, alswinners.com, and go to the contact page and send me a thing, I've put together 3 or 4 kinds of magnesium. You can't go to the drugstore and find a good magnesium. Magnesium, the kind of magnesium that you need is the elemental magnesium. And there's a whole bunch of kinds. And sometimes out of 500 milligrams, there's only 50 that your body can use. But you need, 500 to 600, 700 milligrams a day. And it does take 6 to 8 months to fully load your body with magnesium in order to get adequate magnesium to do the hundreds of jobs it's responsible for doing. If you're anxious and depressed, you need magnesium. The magnesium helps with that. And every time you get upset and depressed, you need magnesium. So if you go to the website, alswinners.com, and to the contact us page, and give me your email address, I will send you the little page that I put together with 3 or 4 different good kinds of magnesium. You can decide which kind you want.
Yeah, and I think some of those are listed in the Where Do I Start document as well. We put some of your magnesiums in there.
Okay. Robert Campbell asked, I heard that some oils act like estrogen in the body. Is that a problem?
I can't answer that one. I don't know about that one. They might. I don't know.
Well, if anyone learns anything, let us know. Reach out. I'm sure people would be interested. Okay, Aiden Arpa says, could non-organic oils be problematic? doTERRA does not seem to have the USDA organic seal, but Purador does seem to be USDA and therapeutic level.
All I can say is you could try both oils from both companies and see how they work for you. I know doTERRA has worked with the FDA, and sometimes that's a negative. Sometimes having FDA approval is really not the best thing at all. The FDA right now is considering saying that it's okay, it's bad for dentists to put mercury in their mouth. But for years and years, they've approved mercury in our mouth.
Yeah, good point.
And I just read this morning that they're working with a bunch of scientists and a bunch of things to get FDA to change their mind and say we should not put mercury in our children's mouth, in pregnant women's mouth, or in anyone with ALS, because that mercury just often fumes into your brain.
And
Well,
just to
Scott, go ahead,
let
Scott.
you know, we spent some time with Dr. Boyd Haley at his lab at his place in Kentucky. I think it was Lexington, Kentucky. And it actually leads to neurofibrillary tangles with the amount of mercury that leaches from your dental amalgams. It goes to your brain, and those are the neurofibrillary tangles that you find in deceased Alzheimer's patients. So mercury is very bad. It should not be in the body, period.
Scott and I actually attended the 2010, this is 10 years ago, FDA hearings to try to ban mercury amalgam fillings, and they didn't ban them. And again, of course, because the panel had 13 dentists, no doctors. The head of the FDA at the time used to work for the largest amalgam manufacturing company in the country. So, you cannot count on the FDA to keep you safe. And it's been 10 years. And by the way, we know people who have been fighting this for 40 years, trying to get these mercury banned from our mouths. Because, I mean, who can believe that is still legal? And a big percentage of fillings today, close to 40%, are still being put in children's mouths today that are mercury.
But the thing is the American Dental Association makes money. So, they're fighting the other side of it. There's a big...
Yeah, and they don't want lawsuits either. It's really difficult, but you have the American Dental Association deciding whether we're going to ban the fillings or not, and people came from all over the country to testify. They were given 4 minutes, and they had just a myriad of health problems because of those mercury fillings. So do not think that they're safe just because they're legal.
Yeah, we talked personally with some people with the American Dental Association, and both sides of the argument at the FDA hearings. Trust me, those folks are not in the healing business.
Right. And the dentists don't know, just like the neurologists don't know. There are neurologists that will tell you, oh, don't get your fillings out, because they don't know. Now, they are right. Don't get them out without a mercury-safe dentist. Do not let a regular dentist let them out, because then you can poison yourself even more in the process of getting them out. But you can get them out safely.
Somebody just asked about ingesting essential oils. And in this little book, Modern Essentials, this is what it looks like, if you can see that. It has a key for each one. So here's lemon essential oils. You can use it topically, you can use it aromatically, and I is for internally. So somebody just asked, can you put it in a feeding tube? I don't know how much. We've never had a feeding tube, so I don't have that experience. But you can start with a little. And if there's no upsets, you could add another drop. So that's, about the best answer I could give there.
Thanks, Kay. The next question is, did Kim ever have back and joint pain? And if so, what did he use?
Did you ever have back and joint pain? Not associated with ALS, did it?
No, probably the biggest thing was probably from the carbonated water and getting back pain was actually my kidneys. And that was a problem, but we got off of the carbonated water and those things cleared up. So there's a lot of things. Try to go back and think about what you had and what you did and what worked and what didn't. We don't know for sure. We don't know how much ALS had, or the essential oils had to do with correcting the ALS problem, but it certainly helped us at the time on certain issues. And it's just a matter of keeping, searching, looking, trying different things, and being positive and realize that things sometimes will work. And if they work for you, great. Keep finding more things and add a bunch on. Our list is pretty long, but which ones we could eliminate and be where we are today, I don't know. But
muscle cramping, just came up from Robert Campbell and asked which oils for muscle cramping. I would say magnesium. Magnesium even comes in an oil. And on our website, on our miscellaneous page, I've got a recipe for a magnesium rub. And it's amazing what that does for muscle cramping, because magnesium is for muscles. When he was in the hospital a couple of years ago, and they wouldn't give him adequate magnesium in the hospital, and he would leg cramp, I would rub the magnesium rub on it, and the therapist would look and go, how did you do that? The cramping would go away almost instantly. Mine is really greasy, so there's two companies that make a magnesium lotion that's not greasy like mine. Mine has 4 ingredients, and you can add an essential oil to it if you want. And the recipe's on the miscellaneous page of our website. JigsawHealth.com has a magnesium lotion, and Dr. Dean's website, Dr. Carolyn Dean, who wrote the book The Magnesium Miracle, has a magnesium lotion. So those are 2 sources.
Yeah, but you still need to ingest magnesium. You need to be taking magnesium supplements also.
Yeah.
Hopefully liquid.
I want to make sure that we understand that most of you, it says, do you attribute most of your improvement to your speech, mostly to essential oils? I don't believe that's true. So Kim, could you answer that question? What do you attribute your improvement of speech to mostly?
attitude. First thing is attitude and our refusal to accept the prognosis. That was a big thing there. And then all the other stuff, I think diet changes were a big part of that. And you put your list of what's most important from 1 to 10. Breathing was a big issue, and that was right up there. But I think that the diet changes were a major part of that. I think the supplements were probably positive that way, and we'll go on. I'll mention the pain issues. One thing that Kay mentioned early on, when I had before the diagnosis, I'd get leg cramps so bad I couldn't even get out of bed to try to stretch your legs out and stand on them. And so just sit there and suffer the pain. Those Charlie horse can be pretty painful, but and I'm sure most everyone has had those in their time. But the magnesium rub really helped with that, and it's a lifesaver.
Great, thank you. Amanda Stevens said, have you found any oils that help with fasciculations?
Congratulations.
It's really the magnesium, and I don't know. I'd have to study this book really thoroughly to understand if there's oils that help with, but it's actually the magnesium oil. That's not an essential oil. That's just an oil. Magnesium oil itself, if you rub it on fasciculations, will penetrate, but it's very itchy, so you can only leave it on your skin for about 20 minutes, and you have to wash it off or you just go crazy. But the magnesium rub that I have is magnesium oil, coconut oil, shea butter, and those little beads. So there's just four ingredients, and you just mix it up like a lotion or like a mayonnaise, and then you have your rub. And my recipe will make about 12 ounces, about a cup and a half. And the other two companies that make the magnesium lotion, I don't know, they have 10, 20, 30 ingredients in them, but they're not greasy like mine is. So that's the advantage. When you put it on your hands, we just drove down to Utah this last week, and Kim's hands would cramp. So we'd get the magnesium rub out and put them on. It felt better. Boy, the steering wheel was greasy.
Really bad on bed sheets too.
Patra Pang, this is just a comment, but I think it's worth saying that you should test for allergy reactions. So I guess like before you're putting something on a huge patch of your skin, you just use like a very small amount to make sure that your skin doesn't react to it.
Right.
A comment from Robert. Just a shout. Breathing on my back at night has been easier last couple of weeks. Yay. We love those comments. That's awesome. Congratulations. James Gedka says, did an emotional or physiological detox and reprogramming your thought patterns play into your recovery? I know you just spoke about that.
And yes.
Yeah.
If you don't heal your emotions, you don't heal your body. There is so much connection between negative emotions, fear, anger, grief, loss. Any negative emotions affects your health. And if you don't resolve those emotions, your body stays sick.
Very important. I think, okay, this is from Aiden. I think this is in reference to the soda stream that you're using, that you can add sodium bicarbonate to make it less acidic. Have you heard of that?
We used sodium bicarbonate, but we didn't know about that back in the time of when he was doing the carbonated water. So yes, that's a good suggestion, Aiden. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
I don't know what will happen when you put it in there. It might fizz clear out of the bottle. Who knows?
Test in smaller amounts first, I guess. Tish, are there magnesium good brands listed on the website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the Where Do I Start document. So go to healingals.org and Where Do I Start? And we put my favorite brands and Kay's favorite brands up there. So
awesome. So Sunita, that's for you.
There is a question on how mercury gets out of your bodies after you remove the fillings. So, this is regular detox. Once the fillings are out, at least you're not poisoning your body every time you breathe, every time you chew, and every time you swallow, because you're getting little tiny bits. And don't panic, because you've been doing this for 30 years, okay? And it's going to take a while for the mercury to come out, but you do have normal detox panels. I have one friend, she had MS, she had 13 fillings, she got one out every 3 months. Within 6 months, half of her MS symptoms were gone of the last filling, and within a year, all of her MS symptoms were gone just by getting all of her mercury fillings out. So it allowed, once you stop the incoming toxin, then you start being able to detox and let the body start healing itself. So there are also zeolite. There's a ton of heavy metal detox protocols, which this is why it's important for everyone to research, because there are a lot, and go see a functional medical practitioner, because they also know how to detox heavy metals. You generally want to, this is from Eric Edney, you generally want to correct your nutrient deficiencies first, get your supplements up, get your diet organized, get your body strong, and then you detox only as fast as you can handle it. If you are getting detox symptoms, it means you're detoxing too fast. I've done this myself. I took like a whole bunch of detox stuff at once, and I was really sick for 3 days. Well, not sick, because at the time I had but my brain stopped working, essentially. It was not good. So understand this ALS, it's extremely important. You've got to use your body as a guide. So one person might be able to take, a teaspoon of something, and that teaspoon will have this really nice detox effect. And another person with ALS can only handle a quarter of a teaspoon of this same detoxifier. So again, this is why it's important. Every single one of you is different. Every body is different. And every product is different. So what's going to work for one is not going to work for the other. It's very individualized. And you have to listen to your body. So you'll know if you're detoxing too fast because your symptoms are going to come back, and you need to back off that immediately.
And sometimes it's the Herxheimer's reactions, the Herx reactions that you get also, and you need to back off when you get the Herx reactions. And there are still people out there doing a blood test saying that, no, I don't have any mercury, I just had a blood test done. You need to do a urine challenge or a provoked challenge test. The blood tests just don't work. People say that over and over again. I've had a blood test, I don't have mercury. Mercury does not show up that way. Just a reminder.
What was that word that you just mentioned in the beginning of what?
The Herx reaction?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
Okay, Herxheimer's reactions. If you're detoxing too fast, your body is going to respond, and you'll feel these reactions within your body, and it's a result of detoxing too fast.
But they can be different pains or feelings.
Right. It could be nausea, could be headaches, could be muscle cramps, could be anything.
Dizziness.
I think the main thing is that mild detox reactions are okay. Even medical medium talks about that. Anthony William talks about that. Look, if it's very mild, but the minute it gets more than very mild, because you have to get the toxins out of your body, then that's when you back off. Because with ALS, it means you are pulling the toxins out faster than your body can release them.
And have you experienced a little bit of that, Kim? Have you detoxed too fast and had to back off?
Most of his detoxing was done through ozone, and we feel that ozone just deletes. It doesn't move it out of the body, doesn't move it through the liver, it just deletes it. But early in January of 12, we had a friend come over, and she gave Kim this real intensive foot massage. And the next day he called me from work, he says, I don't feel good. So I talked to somebody. It was probably that intense essential oils foot massage that were bringing too many toxins out at once. So I talked to somebody, and they said, drink lots of water. So, and that was the only time that we know of that he had a reaction.
Well, when we chat at the end of this, if someone has experienced these Herxheimer's reactions,
I've experienced
I'd like for them. Okay,
but
can you explain
ALS,
your experience? Oh, that's true. I want somebody who had ALS. Yes, or has ALS, or is experiencing them. Okay,
yeah.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, and so just there was something. Sorry. The ozone appears to not have the side effects of the detox reactions. And the other one is, the other way to get metals out of your system is through sweat. So those portable far infrared saunas can also get them out. You have to remember to put your minerals back in, because you're sweating your minerals out. So you obviously have to take extra minerals and electrolytes back in your body whenever you're using the far infrared sauna. But that's another way to get them out without having to go through your liver and your kidneys.
Isn't salt baths another way as well?
Yeah, magnesium salt baths is another way. Yeah.
Great. Emily DK says, what can be done to prevent a dry throat when using a BiPAP during the night? The humidifier warming plate does not help.
Okay.
A BiPAP. Kim used, I don't know that we can answer that adequately. Kim used a BiPAP for about 2 weeks, and it just hurt his lungs, so he quit. And he didn't use it until after his hospitalization in 2018. He began using a CPAP, which is humidifying. The BiPAP that he had would actually put oxygen in too, but it was so painful from his lungs that he didn't do it.
Okay. Thank you.
So 2:28. So just maybe one or two more questions.
Okay. Let's see. Oh. Okay. Here's a good question. Cynthia Cherry says, you can ingest essential oils, but can you put them in a feeding tube? If so, how? Can you maybe mix them with a formula?
I think if it says that they can be ingested, and I haven't seen any that said they can't, but I haven't looked through all of the possibilities. So if you're putting them in a feeding tube, you would just put them in with whatever you're feeding, whatever food you're putting in.
Well, I would like to ask Lisa Manchester, has she ever put any essential oils in a feeding tube working with Mark Manchester? That way, can you unmute Lisa for me, Tish?
We have not used essential oils in a feeding tube, and I wouldn't because of the mechanisms of the feeding tube itself.
The plastics.
The plastics. I mean, I feel because these oils are powerful and it could break them down. And us personally, we wouldn't ingest essential oils.
Yeah.
But that's another day. But no, definitely not in a feeding tube.
Lisa deals with samples, and they're directly from the factory, and they actually don't recommend that ingesting, but they don't have just specific like frankincense and all that. They have mixtures.
It's a blend.
It's a blend. So all of theirs are a calm, a lift, what is it? Clarify, balance, and they're a mixture, and they don't we didn't.
One other suggestion also, and I put it in the chat, but it didn't get brought up, about if possible, I know it is not as easy, but somehow or another, if you know a naturopath or someone you're working with and they know muscle testing is very important as to what supplements or essential oils or whatever route that you're going to take. You can do muscle testing. You can also learn to do it yourself. But that's important to guide you along as to whether your body is going to accept what you're wanting to do and what you're wanting to take, even down to the type of nutrients or formulas.
And Lisa diffuses essential oils 24 hours a day.
Yeah, we've used oils for quite a long time, even before.
It changes during the day. It's a different one in the morning, it's a different one in the mid-afternoon, and it's a different one at night. So as Kay and Kim have probably done the same thing. It depends on, there's a relaxing or calm that she uses at night. I'm not sure all of the stuff that's in it, but so there's always different smells at different times of the day in our house. And the one at night actually is probably what, for doTERRA, is probably Breathe. And it does have, I think it does have lavender in it too.
I think, but it's it's very good.
Yes.
Yeah. I love oils, no doubt. They're very big medicinal properties that are simple, but you just, you have to do your own homework, do your own research on them. That's what we've done.
Lisa has the same book that you have, Kay.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
I've used doTERRA.
And we've used doTERRA too. So I like the frankincense.
Yeah, frankincense is awesome.
Frankincense is awesome.
Very powerful.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I know we're in the wrap-up phase. Real quick, do you have anything last to say real quick, Tish? Because I'm going to try to get some rapid fire in here.
People feel like they wanted to share. I think Campbell said he had something to share. Oh, breathing. He said he can breathe. Why don't you go ahead and share what you were saying about breathing laying down?
Well, for a while, it was really hard to breathe on my back, and it's getting better now so that I can lie on my back without feeling like I have to gasp for air. So that's a positive thing.
So that's using the Wim Hof method, is that right?
I think so.
No, we don't know what it is. We're doing a couple of things.
Also, I'm sorry, Tish. Lisa's done detox, so I don't know if we have time for her to talk about it or not.
There were oils that I was using that they would tell me, because I would have a kind of a reaction and it really smelled to me. And they said, well, that's because you really need it. It's cleaning out your liver. But when I found the doTERRA oils, I found that they worked and I didn't have that odor and problem with my liver. So I just wanted to add that.
Great. Thanks, Joyce.
And then also, I think we had another announcement today, Tish, about the prayer meeting next Saturday.
Joyce was talking about, and we're not going to schedule it yet, but if people could find out, I'd like to gauge the interest level today of, Joyce was talking about maybe doing just a prayer once a week, leading a prayer.
Can I tell them about it?
Absolutely, Joyce, go ahead. And we're talking about Saturday, but go ahead, Joyce. Why don't you introduce it, and then people can respond in the chat whether this is something, it would be totally separate from this. Joyce would run it, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I've had a lot of requests for prayer meetings, and prayer is so important. So we wanted to take some time, probably on Saturdays, maybe around noon, and have half an hour or so of prayer, of really sincere prayer. This is open to everyone, even though I'm Christian, I'm a chaplain and work with everyone, but we wanted to also start doing some positive mental picturing and some guided imagery. Do the prayer and the guided imagery for meditation and things, and we know that this can do wonders. I've had some requests for some other people to do this, and I would like to see if there would be these that we could join in and invite everyone, because I think prayer is such a big thing for healing.
Okay, great. You are getting some positive responses, so I'll tell you what. Keep in mind for an email. I will, once we do set a date and a time, then we will absolutely post it on the website and also mention it in the reminder letters that you get.
I'm really looking forward to it. So I just want to invite everyone who can. It's private, but prayer can do such miracles. And so I believe that's a great place to start. So I'd welcome everyone. Look forward to hearing from them.
Okay, great. And I will post it on healingals.org.
Kim and Kay, I had issues with the BiPAP, CPAP. Just to let you know, they changed me to AVAPS, S&T, and it's amazing. So I have to breathe I have to sleep every night with I went through the BiPAP, CPAP, but they went to AVAPS, S&T. It adapts to you all night long, and it is so much easier to breathe on that. It is just.
Does it keep Lisa awake? Does it keep Lisa awake? That's sometimes the mask comes off, and so there's a hurricane in the room, and I'm awake for the rest of the night.
Very quiet, and if it does fall off, it adjusts and starts slowing the volume down, and it won't alarm. It just, I mean, I have it where it don't alarm because Lisa. Yeah. It used to alarm when I was totally dependent on it and had a trach. Yes, it would alarm, but we've turned that alarm off. Mm-hmm. It doesn't worry about me dying in my sleep anymore. So, but the AVAPS is way quieter than the BiPAP and CPAP.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for all your work and sharing with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, I guess we're going to go ahead and start wrapping it up. Any quick rapid fire questions? If you had a couple, Gabby, or
comments.
Any other, or any good positive news.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, because earlier you had mentioned someone with ALS who's done detox. Lisa Petsu, my friend, she spoke a couple of weeks ago. She's done detox, and she has experience with the symptoms you were speaking about. So if anybody wants to talk to her, she might be a good person. Positive comments. That's a great way to end the meeting. Yeah, does anyone have anything they want to share?
Okay. I'm just going to start saying goodbyes then. Goodbye to everybody.
See you next
time. Thank you for joining us. Yes, and thank you. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Edison, Vera. Thank you, Steve, Sean, Freddie. Thank you. Thank you, Betsy, and thank you, Tandalea, Connie, thank you over there. Diana, Barb, thank you. Thank you, Fern. Thank you, Andreas. Thank you very much.